I hope everybody had a good, I won't save this, had a nice weekend. I will remind you that Wednesday, Mr. Dubik led the webinar and he helped people get ready to print their 3D prints. Make sure that you check out the Edmodo guide if you were not there or you haven't yet posted the name of what you want printed to Edmodo. We can't guess what you want printed, so make sure you follow those steps. Oh, whoops, there you go. No, not normal. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Raise your hand if you can see my screen, please. Wonderful. So, again, if you want something printed from Tinkercad, go to Edmodo, follow those steps, and post the name of the file that you want printed to Tinkercad, and Mr. Dubik should be able to help that with you. Mr. Dubik will be here Wednesday evening working with you all again, so you can also ask him about that then. He'll be working with you in SketchUp, but speaking of SketchUp, who went ahead and raise your hand if you downloaded SketchUp for today's class? Okay. Alright, girls, that is absolutely okay. We can do that today, but that is going to put us behind. It takes about 25 minutes to download and install. So that's why I asked to do it before today's class. I'll send that link out to you. And it will be absolutely okay. We can do it at the start of class, but it does take a little bit of time. So I sent you the link, and it should bring you right here. And you're going to download SketchUp. Click on that red button. And it says, let's choose a product. I plan to use SketchUp 4. Will you plan to use it for educational use? And then you have to fill in a little bit of information. I would prefer you use the Gmail that you used to set up for this class. You are a student. You can either give them your first and last name or your first and middle name, and then whatever your school name is. If you are homeschooled, you can say homeschooled. Choose your operating system, Mac or Windows, and choose whether you want Pro or Make. You want Make. This one is pricey. You want Make. You do agree to the license agreement. You do not want news and tips. So take your time, work your way through those steps, and I will give you guys a minute to punch in that information. Let's say 2 minutes here. Okay, I'm not sure how long you have to send in the Tinkercad requests, but I would definitely work on it since we started Tinkercad, I think 3 weeks ago in the course. So Kate, I saw your question there, but I don't have a good answer for you. Mr. Dubik will have a much better answer Wednesday evening. I'm not sure when the cutoff is for that. But I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry. I'm sure Mr. Duvik will work with you if you speak with him. I'm glad to have you here. Kate, I know that sometimes you don't have a very good connection, so SketchUp this is going to take a long time for you to download. Just as a heads up, I do want you to stay if you can and work along with us, but you may not, SketchUp might not finish for you by the time we start the lesson today, okay? Sorry about that. All right. Again, educational use. Fill in some information about you. You do want SketchUp Make. You agree with the license agreement. You don't want news and tips. Okay? While we wait for this to download, I'm going to give you guys a reminder on updating your Google Sites. Remember, this is supposed to be like a portfolio for what you've done in this course. Right? So we have all of the sites here that I have made. I have more than they're just mine. But I'm going to go ahead and show you an example. Let's see. I don't know whose that is. Okay, here we go. That's fine. Well, I'll go to this one. It's already updated, but I can unupdate it for you. So, oops. This is my Google site. I clicked to open it, and I have updates already about Scratch. Remember, add photos, talk about what we did, talk about when you felt proud, annoyed, surprised, happy, ecstatic, etc., etc., etc. And this is just a reminder to go ahead and add one for Minecraft Pi. So here's what mine says here. During March, after our Scratch unit, our class got to extend our basic coding knowledge through hacking into a special version of Minecraft made especially for the Raspberry Pi. We used Python to control different game elements. I thought it was really exciting when the first message popped up in my Minecraft world. I thought downloading and installing Minecraft was frustrating at times, but the experience made it even more satisfying when we got it to work. And then I have a picture of the Minecraft world. Okay. I'm going to show you how I got this page. I scroll up to my top menu here, and you'll see that there's this Create Page option. I'm going to name this page Minecraft Pi or Hacking Minecraft. And I'm going to put the page under, I'm going to choose a different location. I want it to be under my Young Engineers of Today projects page. And I'm going to hit Create. And you don't have to do this right now. I'm showing you guys this while you download SketchUp, but I do want this to act as a reminder, and I want you to have this on your recording so you can do it at your own speed. I'm going to change the layout of my page to be 2 columns because I think that looks nice. And here I can type my content. During the month of March, ... explain what we did and my reactions to it. So I really enjoyed. I thought I am more interested in I got frustrated when, ... And over here we can add a picture. So you can either add a picture from your computer, insert image, and you can upload an image from your computer, or you can select web address and just paste the image URL. So to get the image URL, say I'm going to Google Minecraft Pi. I'm going to select images up here. I know I'm moving very quickly, but you can get those recordings and then it'll go at a slower pace. And I can select whatever image I want to use and select View Image. And this brings me to a page that's just the image. So if I click up here in the address bar, I can edit, copy the address, that's the image URL, and edit, paste the image URL in there, and you'll see the image right there. And I'm going to make it small, maybe medium, centered. And below the image, I'm just going to write, I do not own this image, since I don't own this image. Okay, this is an update on how you add a new page that talks about what we've done in this class. You also might want to add a Tinkercad post. And you can use an actual image of yours from Tinkercad. So let me see. I know I have one in my trash. I might just pull that out. Oh dear, Kate, be safe. Center of a thunderstorm, that's no good. Okay, I can't find an image from, Where did this go off to? Interesting. Sorry about that, you guys. But I will just use this image of a duck with a 3D printed foot as an example. The other option you can do is insert image and upload an image from your own computer. So for me, I'm going to upload this duck. Make it medium, center it, and again I'm going to just post a little I do not own this image beneath it. Okay. Alright, so I hope we're a little bit closer. Raise your hand if the SketchUp downloaded on your computer yet. Raise your hand if you started the download for Google SketchUp. Cool. Alright ladies, well we are just going to take our time. If yours hasn't downloaded yet, that's fine. I can keep working on this. So a 3D printing unit started with an exploration of Tinkercad, and again in your Google site you want to talk about how the experience was for you. I learned a lot about I am interested in, I found this part I got frustrated when, I really enjoyed dot. Does anyone want to see something specific in Google Sites? You can type something in or raise your hand. No? Okay. Well, we will wait for a little bit while these things load. When it does download, we'll walk through the install together. But that will take some time as well. So let's just hang out here for a minute. And raise your hand when you're ready to continue. You know what, for me, go ahead and raise your hand when your download finishes, okay? And I will be right back. Just gonna give you guys some time. You can work on your blogs if you want right now. Great, we've got 2 hands up. Kate, it's probably your connection. I don't know what to tell you to do. If it's not downloading, it's probably your internet connection. Sorry. I also, if you're having slow internet connection, I wouldn't start Tinkercad and SketchUp. Girls, once you have downloaded SketchUp, locate your downloads file. Should be using your file manager or using Finder, depending on whether or not you are a Mac user or a Windows user. In your downloads folder, you should find your, sort mine by date modified here. What? Oh no, I'm going to sort mine by date added. Okay, here we go. SketchUp make. Mine's a disk image since I'm a Mac. Kate, I don't know what to tell you. You can stop the download and start it again. It just might be going very, very slowly though. Okay. Double click to start, to take a look at this, start the installation. Yours will not automatically jump to this screen. Yours is going to take some time to actually install, probably a few minutes here. But just walk your way through the steps. It'll first unzip. If you're using a Windows, it might unzip. Okay, Kate, I understand. So if it's not, nothing's coming up. So when you hit download, nothing happens. Does this screen change to instructions? Okay, the thank you page means that it should have started downloading. You may need to disable blockup, or if it's blocking the download on your computer based on your privacy settings, you can ask your parents about that. When you get to the thank you page, it's there's a page called Trouble Downloading. I'll send that to you here. And it goes through all of the separate steps. You need certain hardware requirements, and you can download a previous version if maybe that version's too old. Okay. Well, that's all I can say to it. Make sure you check your downloads folder to make sure nothing is started. There's also video tutorials on downloading. Because I'm not going to be able to show you what it looks like on a Windows machine. I can only show you what it looks like on a Mac. So the YouTube channel might have video tutorials on downloading it on a Windows machine. Girls that have downloaded SketchUp, make sure you're going through the install process now. Please. Alright, Kate, we're going to keep going. I'm sorry you're having so much trouble downloading. The worst case scenario, if you have a laptop, Mr. Dubik can help you install it at lab. If you don't have a laptop, Mr. Dubik can maybe put the installer on a flash drive for you and bring you that flash drive so that you can install it when you get home. Okay? Two different ideas. And sorry it's giving you trouble. Alright, ladies, will you, Amelia and Brooke, will you raise your hand if you started the install? Wonderful. Will you raise your hand if you are finished installing? Wonderful. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So you can now, since it's finished installing, you should find it in your applications. And Kate, it's up to you. If you want to stay with us and watch, I would love for you to continue. But since you're not going to be able to actually build with SketchUp, you can try Tinkercad if you want. Try starting with Tinkercad, going through the tutorials there. Up to you. But so under your applications, which you can get through the Finder or the File Manager, you should be able to find the SketchUp 2015 folder. And then within that folder, you'll find this SketchUp icon. What you're going to want to do is click Choose Template and select that first template, the simple template, feet and inches. Sounds good, Kate. I'll let Mr. Dewick know. You'll select feet and inches. And then start using SketchUp. And you should see familiar face. Stan Lee. Okay. Girls, could you raise your hand once you get to this screen, Amelia and Brooke? Okay. Brooke, let me know if... Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, so look at my screen for a moment. This is Tinkercad. This is going to allow you to build in 3D. And we have our 3 axes here. The first thing I want you girls to do, if you don't see this large window to the side, you're going to click View, Tool Palettes, Large Tool Set. View, Tool Palettes, Large Tool Set. And that should have this tool palette come up on the side. Okay. When you're using Tinkercad, you do not want to click and drag like you may have done in SketchUp. I'm sorry, flip those. When you're using SketchUp, you don't want to click and drag like you may have done in Tinkercad. So as on my screen for a second, you guys are going to draw a flat rectangle on the ground here. And to do that, you're going to use the rectangle tool, which you can find up in your top bar or on this tool palette. You're going to click once on the ground to start the shape. And then you're going to move your mouse to the side. And then you're going to click again to finish the shape. You are not going to click and drag. You're going to click once to start, pull up, and click again to finish your rectangle. Go ahead and try that. Okay, if you mess up, what you can do is double click your rectangle and hit delete on your keyboard. And then you start over. Click once to start and once to finish. And using the selector tool or the mouse pointer, if you mess up, you can double click and delete it. So go ahead and add a rectangle and then use the pointer tool, double click that rectangle and delete it. Try doing that a few times. When you're happy with the rectangle that you have about this size next to Stan Lee here, raise your hand. Ladies, let me know if you need any help. Raise your hand when you got your rectangle. Hey Amelia, are you having any trouble? Send me a message if you're having trouble making this rectangle. Or raise your hand when you're ready to move on. Okay. That's okay, Amelia. That's what I assumed and you had just forgotten, but I didn't want to move on too fast. Okay. What you're going to do next is use the push-pull tool on your top menu or over on your side menu. It looks like a rectangle with a red up arrow coming out of it. Now this tool is very cool. It allows you to take any surface. Notice when I hover over my rectangle, the gray part has blue spots on it now. It allows you to take any surface, click once on that surface, and you're able to move your mouse up or down and click again to finish your build. And you want it to be about this size next to Stan Lee. And we've got a 3D shape. Okay, now we're going to go over some view tools. So just like in Tinkercad, you can zoom, orbit, and pan. So let's look at orbit first. The orbit tool you can find up here in your top menu. It's the two ribbon arrow looking things spinning around each other. And when you have the orbit tool, you can click with the mouse pointer and it's like you are rotating around a fixed point. Very helpful. Go ahead and try that now. Next, we're going to look at the pan tool. The pan tool is this little white hand, and it allows you to move in a flat plane across the screen. Go ahead and try that. The last one is zoom. It's the magnifying glass, and it allows you to zoom in and out by clicking and moving your mouse up or down. Go ahead and try that one out. The coolest thing, however, is that you can do all of these things with using just the orbit tool. So go ahead and select, let's say, the rectangle tool. Let's say you want to make a rectangle on the top of your shape, but you don't have a good view. What you can do is hit the O on your keyboard to access the orbit tool. Use it like normal. With the orbits tool still selected, hold Shift down on your keyboard to access pan. When you release Shift, you have the orbit tool again. And you can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So with the orbit tool selected, by clicking O on your keyboard, O for orbit, you can orbit, hold Shift down to pan, and you can use the mouse wheel to zoom. Then when you hit Escape, it returns you to the tool you were using before. So if I click the rectangle tool, I can hit O to change my view. I want everybody to do this now and try to get the underside of your rectangle. Make things tricky for you. O to orbit. When you have your orbit tool, you can hold down Shift to pan and use your mouse wheel to zoom. Raise your hand when you have a good view of the underside of the box. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and draw another rectangle on here. Remember not to click and drag. And then you can use the push-pull tool, and you can actually poke a hole through your rectangle. Notice that I started the push. I pushed up until I kind of got this weird looking screen. And that just meant I had reached the top. And there you go. I pushed all the way through that shape. And there's a hole. Okay, take a look at my screen for a moment, please. The fundamental shapes of SketchUp are composed of edges, or these black lines, and faces, or these white and gray kind kind of shapes in between the edges. So we have edges and faces. With the selector tool, you can select a single edge or a single face. And as we've already seen, if you double click, you select the face and all of the edges that surround that face. Go ahead and try that now. Single click to select a single face or a single edge, and double click to select a face and all of the edges that surround that face. Okay, the last thing, the really cool thing that you're going to use a lot, if you triple click a shape, it selects all faces and all edges. Single click for a single face or edge, double click for that face and all surrounding edges, triple click to select the entire shape, all faces and edges. I want you all to triple click your shape and hit delete on the keyboard. All right, raise your hand once you've been able to do that. Wonderful. All right. Eyes on my screen for a moment. So we've learned how to use the rectangle tool, and you might think that a single line would be easier. But because we're using a 3D space, drawing with single lines can actually get very tricky. So look at my screen for a moment and I'll show you why. If you're just drawing kind of randomly, of course, one moment, let me change my view here. When I give the example, it doesn't work. Let's do that. Using black lines, you may think that you're going to create a flat shape, but really when you orbit around, what you've created is this shape in 3D object. You've created something very much not flat. It may look flat like when you're drawing it, but in the actual physical world, it is not flat. In order to avoid that, what you need to do is always, always, always draw your lines following axes. So let me show you what I mean by that. When I click to start a line and I start to move my mouse to the side, it's going to automatically want to snap so that it's aligning to the red axis, the green axis, or the blue axis. What I want you girls to do now is to make 3 rectangles. The first should follow the alignment of the green, red, axes. That means that your vertical lines will be red and your horizontal lines will be green. They'll look green when you're drawing them. The second should be on the blue, red, axis. And the third should be on the green-blue axis. Eyes on my screen for a second. Still, Amelia. Okay. Notice how, as I'm going along this blue-green axis, it automatically tells me, you see that green dotted line that just showed up? Where to end this blue line, because it knows I want to make a rectangle. It's very smart. So I want you guys to try to build all three of these rectangles. These two kind of vertical ones and this one flat one. This is a blue-green, green-red, blue-red. Go ahead and try that now. Take your time. Notice how these shapes turned gray. My crazy shape did not turn gray. Raise your hand once you have all three of these rectangles. Alright, and take your time. There's no rush here. Let me make sure no one has a question. Brooke, just raise your hand whenever you're ready. Again, no rush. I just want to make sure and remind you. Oh, great. That was perfect timing. Okay, so go ahead and double click your three rectangles to and delete them. We're going to learn one more shape, and then I'm going to let you guys just kind of mess around and try to create whatever shape you want for the end of class. So we're going to learn the circle shape. You can see it here on this menu. Circle there. You click to start the circle, and then you drag, not clicking and dragging, sorry. You move your mouse, and you can click to finish the circle. You can use the push-pull just like any other shape. And then just like I showed you before, you can also create holes. Okay, so what I want you guys to do for the rest of class is just to use the shapes we've already learned, use your different movement tools, and create whatever you want. If you want to create a little house, I think that's a good thing to start with. For the roof, what I'd recommend is making a triangle by drawing a line from the edge. Notice how I can hover over the midpoint there, and when I move, eyes on my screen, I started a line at that end point. I can hover over the midpoint without clicking anything, and now when I move my mouse up, it shows me where that line is that's perpendicular. So I can click on that line and then click on the other endpoint and use the push-pull tool to push it to the back, and that would be what would create a roof. Okay, so using the circle, the rectangle, and the line tool, go ahead and create whatever you want. All right, you girls can do your own stuff then. You don't need to look at my screen anymore. You can look at SketchUp. Okay. Remember to change your view. And we're going to learn a lot more tips and tricks to make your shapes more precise. We're going to learn how to make a real house, but for right now I just want you guys to play around. Try different stuff out. Let me know if you run into any trouble making any of the shapes. Oops, getting low on battery here. Alright ladies, I hope you've enjoyed this start to SketchUp. We're going to be continuing learning a lot more tools, and Mr. Dubik is going to be helping you on Wednesday. At the end here, I do want to get, I know it's just the two of you ladies, but I want to see what you think about SketchUp so far. I know we haven't gotten super far, and we've really been learning just the view tools, but all right. Thank you. Great. All right, ladies, enjoy your evening, and Mr. Dubik will be here Wednesday if you're enjoying SketchUp.